Over this past year, I have produced 1,500 different videos in the B2B space, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what I have learned by making this many videos specifically around the topic of B2B marketing and basically selling high-ticket products online. Just so that you know I'm not making this number up, basically for my clients, I produce one long-form video along with 3 shorts every single week, and I've worked with these clients just about this entire year. I've done this with about 8 clients so far. So if you take 16 times 8 and then multiply that by 12, you get to 1,536 clients. Now, whenever I say I produce these, I mean everything from the ideation to the scripting, if that client used scripts, to the post-production of creating thumbnails, editing, and then the publishing of producing videos specifically on YouTube. And I've done this process a lot with a variety of different team members and a lot of different success. In one of my other videos, I broke down exactly how I've used all of that strategy to produce over $3 million this year in YouTube sales. In this video, I'm just going to walk you through how simple it is to do these strategies, and doing them over a long period of time produces obviously results, right? But sometimes it's more than just results. A lot of times it produces trust, it produced branding. I mean, I've had clients who have spoken all over the world, some at Harvard Business School, some in Chicago for different types of conferences. I've even had clients who have thrown their own networking events where they made several tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars from getting their ideal client inside of a room and being able to talk through that. All of that started through video content. 1, the confidence of video content, but 2, the behind the scenes of what it takes in order to build a sustainable business using video marketing. So I'm just gonna show you what that looks like. And I think the first lesson, probably one of the more important ones, is that quantity matters more than quality. At least at first. And what that simply means is that in the beginning, when you're under your first, I'll call it 50 to 25 videos, what you want to do is just focus on getting to the number 50. Don't worry too much about your lighting. Don't worry too much about your camera quality. Don't worry about having fancy lighting and setup and having the best everything and ins and outs of this and that. Instead, just focus on getting to the number 50. If I had to put this in a graphical scale of how much benefits you get just by getting to the number 50 of the video, you hit a dramatic return on just understanding what is it like for me to ideate, film, script, and put out 50 videos. After you get past 50, you will have learned so much by looking back and saying, oh crap, I actually know how to produce at least a relatively decent video. I understand to some degree what does it mean to get my audience to care about the words that are coming out of my mouth. What is the response whenever I say this versus whenever I say that? And you are starting to system build. After you get to about 50 videos, you can again look back on what you've done and be able to kind of write things out and saying, bulk creating content actually works for me. It's the thing that I recommend to all of my clients. Even what I'm doing right now, don't sit and record one video, record multiple all at once. You begin to create systems that allow you to be able to scale and basically make more money with video content. So at first, focus on quantity and then allow your quality, lighting setups, fancy cameras, all of these other things to come much later on, especially after you start making money. My next point is that your most engaged content will come from your most niche topics. Now, niching down is not necessarily a new thing, but I want to almost reframe it to you and give it to you in a different way and hopefully make it make a little bit more sense. When I'm telling you to niche down, or that more engagement will come from more niche or more hyper targeted videos, what I am actually saying is that most of the times whenever you're sitting down and saying I want to sell my email marketing service, or I want to do whatever complicated business service and put it out to the public, eventually what you end up doing is being very generic in the ideas that you're putting out. So inevitably you will create yourself an environment or a place where you are a small fish in a humongous market. It is one of the first audits that I do whenever I'm working with a new client trying to set them up in order to grow and scale their business using YouTube, is I have to ask, is this a person who can become a big fish in a tiny pond? At least at first. I know this again is not groundbreaking or revolutionary, but like, do it. Take the advice. Whenever you are saying, I want to make fitness content, or I want to show people how to build a business, or I want to start something around lead generation, you are putting yourself at a disadvantage, because more than likely you're going to start producing content And the automatic competition that you have are going to be people who have been doing this a whole lot longer, who have way better budgets, team structures and systems in place that you simply do not have, and you end up basically deucing yourself out of a market because nobody's going to be able to see you because the space is so crowded. Now, if instead of saying business services, you say, I want to target businesses that make about $1 million a year, live on the south side of the United States, are family owned and operated, and don't have anything more than 10 employees in this specific real estate sector, now we're talking to a very, very small group of people who you can talk to their specific pain points, what it's like to be in their business, how you can help them, and they will be 10 times more likely to actually listen to you, not because you did anything special. You did the same thing that everybody else does. The only thing different that you actually did was be very intentional about the people who you're picking to talk to, which at the end of the day is the secret sauce anyway. Stay consistent. Now, I mentioned this earlier, and you guys have seen me kind of post on and off a lot this year, but more than anything, batch record in order to stay consistent. Batch recording is probably one of the biggest secrets that I've done with all of my clients. As a matter of fact, whenever I onboard a client, they kind of expect to get videos posted out as soon as they sign on. And I always tell them we need to wait about 30 days and record content at least 2 times before we can ever push out content. This always comes as a bit of a surprise because you can imagine whenever you sign on with a video editing or video producing agency, you want to get videos out as soon as possible. However, what I know, and I'm trying to almost hedge against with all of my clients and everybody who I produce content for, is you're going to get busy. You're going to get preoccupied and you're going to want to do other things. And that's totally fine. Instead of fighting the natural desire of an entrepreneur to want to be an entrepreneur, I try to hedge against it. What that means is that for a lot of my clients, I force them to only look at content 2 hours a month. So if you want to look at content 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here, 15 minutes here, I don't care, but it would never be over 2 hours a month. As in, we're going to spend 45 minutes every other week sitting down, ideating, producing content. My team is then going to edit the content, make all of your thumbnails, and then put it out so that you can only spend this much time inside of your content process. Now, what that looks like for you, especially if you don't have a team or you can't necessarily replicate that entire system, is you are going to make a very similar system on a smaller scale. What you're going to do is before you sit down and record, you're going to sit down with at least 2 to 4 video ideas every single time. 1 is too little and 5 is probably too much for recording all at once. With that, you get exhausted, tired, and wanting to do something else. Then whenever you sit down, you're going to record all 4 of those videos back to back. Be very careful not to use specific examples and know that people probably will not watch your videos in a loop. So don't reference points that you made in the previous video in a current video. Then you're going to upload those videos inside of a drive and then send them off to specific editors, thumbnail designers, and social media managers. You want to create a system that allows you to sit down, record content, and basically forget about it. Make it so that someone else is posting, someone else is managing the titles, and someone else is the creative director and social media manager of everything that you have going on. Doing something like that hedges against your lack of consistency because everybody has it. If I tell you you'll be successful from video content, you'll get excited. If I tell you you'll be successful in video content in 6 to 8 months, well, now you're a whole lot less excited and it's going to be very, very difficult to stay consistent. So record in bulk. This will help you stay consistent. The YouTube algorithm will reward you. People will get to know, like, and trust you. And more than anything, you will be able to get much, much, much better at effectively selling your products or services using video content. This is probably the biggest lesson that I think I have learned for producing this many videos. Repeat yourself as much as you possibly can. At the end of the day, people are not necessarily listening to you. Sometimes they're asking, what do your setup look like? How cool does this person look? Do they actually know what they're talking about? A lot of times they're not listening to the words that are coming out of your mouth as much as they're listening to how your words make somebody feel. You need to be very, very cognizant of that and understand that if you have a system, a process, or a solution-oriented thing that you sell to people, repeat yourself. You generally only need about 5 to 8 really, really good talking points, and every single video is you regurgitating those talking points in a way that makes sense. I mean, honestly, think about the things that I do. I have told you 100 different times how to make really good video content, whether it be in e-commerce, whether it be in B2B marketing, whether it be in just building a video agency. I've given you the system. The system has not changed because the system works. However, I spin it around in so many different angles over and over again because my hope is that eventually one of these angles will catch your attention. You'll see one of my case studies, you'll see one of my client interviews, you'll see one of my topical points, and you will say, you know what? I think this time it actually makes sense. So you want to repeat yourself. As a matter of fact, you want to put yourself on such a constant loop that people are able to sit down, watch your video content for hours and hours and hours on end and get the exact same message every single time. This is the solution. This is how I understood the solution. This is how I can help you get to the solution. The same 3 things that, honest to God, I've been talking about for the past 4 years because the system works. And I'm going to keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it over and over again in more creative ways because eventually one day the person, you watching this video, are going to understand, oh, this is the thing that works. This is the answer that I've been looking for. And on a random Google search or trying to figure out how to make more money, you're going to be like, oh man, I actually know the answer to that. How did I know this answer? You know what? This guy wearing glasses that makes YouTube content all the time told me. It's honestly just that simple. Look guys, I produced a ton of videos in 2024, and to be honest, I'm going to produce way more in 2025, and I really want to help you on that journey. So click the first link down below if you want to talk to me in my agency, and more than anything, click some of these other videos so that you can understand more about what I do and more about how you can replicate a lot of the systems that I spend all day building inside of your business. Thanks so much for watching this video, and see you in the next one. Peace!